when I want to stop it. So it's Anne-Marie from Charmed Life Therapy. And as you know, that have been following me, I talk a lot about the Blake Lively, it ends with us lawsuit drama quite a lot. And over the last couple of days, there's been a lot coming in. And I didn't want on my Sunday to have to talk a load about Blake Lively. Um, so I thought, well, right, I'll test out going live and I'll just show up, have my little say, and then go on about my day because I spent like the best part of my morning when I got up just looking at the documents that had flooded in, mostly a lot from Ellen Garofalo, who's representing Justin Baldoni. And it was all to do with this scheduling of the deposition of Josh Greenstein or Greenstein, I'm not sure which it is, who is the ex-Sony executive who Wayfarer parties believe is biased towards Blake, it would be safe to say. So there was a lot of backwards and forwards about how to set this up because he was specifying that he was only available from 8 a.m. to 4:30. Now it was Wayfarer's choice to depose this guy. And now often you would think that that would give you the priority over it, that you would go first, you would set the terms. But of course, this is Blake Lively that they're dealing with. And Blake Lively wants it all to go a certain way. And I did make a video yesterday because obviously I'm not a lawyer, I don't understand all the legalities. But yesterday I was saying to you all, I don't really understand. Is it the plaintiff's right to always go first in terms of a deposition? And apparently it's not. It's not normal. Not actually, Golden was saying yesterday, in 25 years of law, she's not heard of this. Like this specifically, the plaintiff gets to go first in terms of the deposition, especially when it is the opposing party's choice to depose that person in the first place. But the feeling is, I think, from most people that Blake wants to get in first with this executive because she wants to steer the narrative. And she literally said in a court document that she wants to steer the narrative in terms of the jury when it comes to testimony. She wants it to go a certain way. It has to look a certain way. And this is what we see across this case. And what I found this morning while I was reading all the documents was just I felt like I was getting narcissistically abused myself. And I was starting to think, this really is not healthy for me to be doing this because I could feel it encroaching on me. And I know that all of those lawyers will be feeling that too, this malicious narcissism. And I'm happy enough to call it at that at this point in time, given everything I've learned over the course of this case. I've tried my best to keep an open mind about Blake. Because I do believe she's a deeply damaged person, but I also think she's a deeply malicious person, unfortunately, who believes everything should go her way and that there exists no other way. Unless she's met with a stronger character or somebody with more power, I think that's a slightly different thing. But it's clear in terms of this lawsuit that she feels that she is the power player and she sets the terms, and it doesn't matter what the opposing people have to say about it. And of course, what's frustrating to many people is that Judge Lively has again come down in terms of he sided with Blake, which can feel like really upsetting. I was recently doing a workshop for a women's aid charity, and obviously these are abused women and such, and we were saying how often you will feel abused throughout the court process too, because the law in handling things in a black and white logical kind of way and taking the emotion out of it can often feel like you're being abused further. And I think this is what we're all feeling in this case, especially if you've got a background of having trauma and abuse. So yeah, Judge Lively, Judge Lively, you could call him Judge Lively. I'm sure most people would consider he is related in some way. But I'm still kind of on the fence about this. I think that judge's whole thing is that at this point, I think he really can't stand either party. He's had enough of them. He thinks it's a pointless lawsuit. He thinks it's a waste of his time. He thinks both sides are approaching it incorrectly. So I think he's handling it in terms of this is what it's going to look like. Neither of you have got a valid argument. I don't want to know about the backbiting and the infighting and all of this. This is how it looks like and this is how it's going to be. But it comes off as a win for Blake, and she will absolutely take it as a win for Blake. So all of us watching it we know that Blake will take that as a win, and it hits you in the emotions, doesn't it? Because you see the unfairness of it. And what we learned over the last day or so is that there's precedent for how these things go with Blake Lively, that Anne Carroll, who I believe is, I think it's a makeup artist of Blake's. I don't think it was hair, I think it was makeup. Wayfair have deposed just recently this Anne Carroll who worked on It Ends With Us, and they deferred to Blake, gave her the choice, gave her demand of going first. They allowed her to do that, and then what happened was she took a lot of breaks. She was late back from lunch, and then the person announced that she had to leave early to go to Vancouver or something or other. So Wayfair had to rush through their section of the deposition, and it was their witness. They'd asked for the deposition, so they know that there's a good chance that this more important witness, this Josh Greenstein, it might go exactly the same way. So of course they're worried about it. And there may or may not have been a purposeful misstep on the behalf of Ellen Garofalo, because she omitted the word "not" from something that she submitted to the court. Now, whether she did that accidentally or not, or whether just feeling on the back foot because she's entirely dealing with narcissists, she did it on purpose and hoped that it would fly under the radar, I'm not sure. But she was stating that this Josh Greenstein could appear for a second part of deposition, but it would be after the terms of the deposition window closing. But she missed out the word "not," but because he stated he categorically will not be available again. If the deposition doesn't take place now on the 30th and it doesn't last 8 till 4:30, he is not going to make himself available. But she missed out this word "not." Now, I don't know whether she did that on purpose or not, but what I have found in the past with professionals at this level, when I've worked in like the administrative field, they do things very fast, and they do make little slip-ups like this in terms of trying to do things speedily. So it could have been an honest mistake, but it's funny that it was the "not" word that she omitted. But it's bitten her in the bum a bit, Ellen. It's like all the focus went there, it seems, in that she was trying to be underhanded. And it's so frustrating because you think, no, it's the other side that are being really underhanded. So you do get that unfair sense that Wayfair are not allowed a misstep, and Blake just seems to be having everything fall into her lap. So it has been entirely frustrating. I mean, can you imagine those lawyers, even her own lawyers, they've got to sit in that deposition room with her. She wants everything her own way. You can imagine her going to lunch, can't you, and fannying about, basically, as we might say in the UK, and not coming back till late, or taking a long toilet break, or whatever it is, and flouncing in there. You can imagine how it would go, can't you? That everybody in that room, whether they're on her team or not, would be deeply impacted from it. I feel like these lawyers, no matter which side you're on, will feel like they need a big long holiday at the end of this, if it ever does end. But yeah, that's the state of play, basically, is that all of this stuff, and there was a ream of stuff firing backwards and forwards in the last 48 hours between Wayfarer's request for a judgment on the pleadings, which I hope it's a substantial document to me. I think it holds water or whatever. So it will be interesting to see if Lyman follows through on his... Hello, who am I looking at? Random stuff. Hi Gildy. Hi Yazan VIP. I'm fine, thank you. Fed up of Blake Lively, but other than that, I'm fine. Yeah, so basically how I'm going to just finish this little video up is just to say it will be interesting and will be very telling to see how Judge Lyman does handle this motion, or this request to dismiss based on the pleadings, because if he truly wants to seem to remain unbiased, given that a lot of the things that he's done do indicate like bias on the side of Blake, if you want to interpret it that way, it will be interesting to see how he handles this one, which is strictly being phrased, not on any he said, she said, or anything like that. It's strictly based on the charges that she brought, and are they applicable in New York, or the California statute she tried to bring into it, that they are arguing can't be applied extraterritorially. it's like, well, this will be an interesting one because it will be, well, Judge Lyman, you've indicated you want it to be black and white, logical, based on legal citations, based on facts, based on law specifically. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with this, whether he follows through, whether he entertains any of it. But it's certainly been a frustrating few days, I would say, with lots of ups and downs. But yeah, just reading through those emails that have been firing back from Ellen Garofalo and the Blake's counsel this morning, I myself felt narcissistically abused. I felt that sense of, this is a no-win situation. You can't win with this person because she's always right. It's always her way. She never sees the other person's point of view. And that, you know, if you're going to take something away from that, I keep banging on about it. This is what narcissism looks like, people. If you're not sure, if you're dealing with narcissists in your life, go off and have a look at that court docket. Don't spend too long on it. But you will see narcissism in play, in case you weren't sure what it looks like. This is what it looks like. What is my favourite colour? Red, I would say. See you later. Yeah, so that's it for today. I just wanted to jump on quickly and do that. I have no idea how to shut down this live or to end it. I think I might press close, but I'm not sure. Thank you to everybody that watched, and drop me a comment if you can and a like. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.